I'll hopefully be back on. So if you listen to metal or anything like that, like you're good or anything, but I would recommend actually going to YouTube and looking up drum backing tracks and starting to play guitar with these. So not actually learning a song just yet, but let me show you what we're going to do with some of the subdivision stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do is just pull up a backing track, and let's just take a very common beat, 140 BPM. A lot of people think it's fast. A lot of people think it's kind of in between and slow. So So here I'm going to find this downbeat with the downstroke. And that upstroke. And this is the subdivision that's going to be in my head. Basically what is on the hi-hat. And I want to get that ingrained in my head. It's just going to be tapping the whole time. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start to play my scales with this. Let's take a very common scale. Go E pentatonic, and realize I'm going to be hit down half step on this guitar. Again, 2, ready, and the idea here is that I'm not playing too fast, but I'm playing to a fast beat. So I'm getting used to how that feels while playing these, what are essentially a quarter note here. And then I could do that with triplets if we want to speed it up a little bit, like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. One more time. And then I'm going to go up to the next subdivision. So now we're going to do our 8th notes. One more time. And the idea is that we're at this quick tempo and I'm just feeling how it's going to be and just getting used to that. But I'm playing at a tempo that I can handle. And I'm going to practice this kind of over and over and over again until it becomes natural and it feels good. And then I'm just going to simply bump it up either 5 or 10 beats. But here I can actually get the triplet speed in this, so it's going to be... So let's say that's my ceiling. I'm right at the top and I can get that for like 1 or 2. Then sure, practice it, do it something like, maybe I'll try it with the 16ths here. Like, take it in little small convenient chunks of when you're getting up to that tempo until you can repeat it over and over and over again. Go for 2. That kind of thing, okay? And so that's going to be my ceiling, and I'm just going to do that. Stop here. And I'm going to do that over and over and again, probably 10 times, and maybe take a break, do it 10 more times. And if I have to chunk it like that, then that's fine. The other thing is I want y'all to notice is that I'm not really, there's no effects. I'm not using any distortion. I'm not using any delay or anything like that. I guess I shouldn't. And then oftentimes I will do this without my guitar being plugged in at all. It's just to get warmed up. It feels... makes me play cleaner or whatever when I'm practicing not with the headphones on. So thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. And it's it's a kind of common technique, but I think in terms of playing these higher tempos and just getting used to playing fast music, it's kind of a weird skill. It doesn't actually mean you need to be able to play and cram as many notes in there in the 16th. And we'll get to that in just a second. But I mean, the idea here is just to play fast. You just got to get comfortable with that tempo. Now, the hard thing to do, admittedly, is the faster it gets. When I get up to around like the 180s to the 200s and somewhere in there, that snare beat, which is on the upbeat on 2 and 4, starts to turn into a downbeat. That's very difficult to get out of. So that's just as a word of warning. I mean, of course there's going to be ceilings and limits on all this stuff, but let's just crank it up and do something a little faster, and then we'll come up with some riffs, and then writing your own riffs that you can play at this kind of stuff also helps. But let's take this one. It's going to be in I want to do like a kind of F minor synth here. And again, this track is going to be in F minor, but I'm going to be playing an F sharp minor because I'm 2 down a half step. So, and then we're just going to work on timing stuff. And then I'll show you something funny I might do with this. So, all right, we got 1. Find the beat. It's already given to us. That keyboard. That's gonna be our subdividing pulse. 2, ready, and very easy to feel. So I'm going to take a track like this and I'm just going to jam these little chords over and over. It's really not going to move, but I'm going to really work on that rhythm at this tempo. And one of the reasons I got so good at this is because I taught guitar for so long, and when you do this for kids, you just naturally get good at it. I think we're going to go into this E, or was it an E flat? That subdivision, okay? I want you to just keep that in your ear. That's what we're working on here. And then start to practice your scales on top of that as if that was your beat. So we got our quarter note, maybe half note, whatever. There's our quarter. We can do F sharp minor pentatonic here. Myself feel the tempo. Familiar with the pattern, the picking pattern. I can keep it quiet, it all feels good. Now I think I can move right into that 8th note tempo. Da 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 da. 2, ready, yeah. You just play it till it feels good. And here I'm going to turn it into kind of 8th note triplets here. and then chunk it into 2 sections. One more time. Maybe we can get our 16th in there. Right? We'll take that at 1 chunk at a time. But I've got that subdivision in my head. Now I'm going to chunk it into 2. And notice I'm not always going to start on 1. Sometimes I'll start on an upbeat, beat 2, 3, just to kind of feel how the scale and all that's going to sound on top. It does change it. And I'd say the hardest part about doing that, I can feel it now, is that turnaround on the low E string. That's where I want to stutter and slow down. With that in mind, I do this a couple more times. So there, I got a little bit dirty. I just have to focus. That is a focus issue. And I think when it comes to playing fast and keeping up with the beat, it largely does become a focus kind of thing. Because if you repeat this enough, it's really easy to zone out on a lot of this stuff. Alright, now that we've got a pretty good tempo going, what I'm actually going to do is turn on the distortion and try and make it sound clean and match that. One, two. So what tends to happen is when you start to grid stuff out like this and just kind of get into it, you're not really getting into the melodic practice. Really what you're doing is allowing yourself, you're building yourself kind of a vehicle to get you from point A to point B in a melody. Because shredding and this kind of thing, playing fast gets, it does get old, but learning also how to do melodic stuff over fast music takes a lot of kind of practice as well. And I would say that for the most part, I'm much more looser with the beat. Sometimes I'm pretty like kind of technical or whatever, but I feel like especially when I'm improvising and I'm shredding, like the downbeat is really subjective and where I start a lot of that because it's just how I'm feeling at the time. I'm trying to ram licks, and that's kind of what I want to get to next is the ramming of the licks before we jump this tempo up here. A lot of the times you'll see that are marked out in like tab books and stuff like that, you'll see 5s and 7s and 9s and just weird stuff like that. And really what they're trying to say is that it's unmetered. That Eric Johnson just played from this beat to this beat, he played this many notes and he did it really, really fast. And like that happens a lot in the guitar world. And I think it has the misconception or the perception that it's metered and that they're playing these really, really quick notes. That's only true, I think, in the case of a couple people like John Petrucci and all of them, especially when they're doing like 30 seconds and the keyboard's doing like they're harmonizing. I mean, you know, then they're definitely, that stuff is metered. But a lot of the times, the more, especially solo guys like Eric Johnson, a lot of his big runs and stuff that he does, I would say, are unmetered, and I think he would probably agree with that. So. You know, don't put too much stock into, you know, can I play this tempo, these 16th notes and blah blah blah, you know, because I think the people that want to emulate or the people that you like their music to play like, they don't think about it like that. And that's one of the reasons it comes out like it does. And if you want to try and reach that level or start to make those sounds, you kind of have to put yourself in there, like that frame of mind. And like, I know a lot of guitar players when it starts to shred it, they worry about this stuff way too much, and they think about it way too much in the moment. Everybody, of course, I think about it all the time outside of, but in the moment, yeah, it's just like hitting a baseball. Let's go for it. That said, I've been working on that butterfly picking motion like that forever, and I know my patterns. I know that I know what I like here, and I know how they sound. That's another big portion of it, being familiar with just moving all over the fretboard, especially when you start to ram notes and stuff like that, because you run out of room real quick. What to double and all that stuff, and then having purpose behind it. But let's go ahead, and what I want to show you now is, since I've been listening to this track, I feel good on this tempo, and I'm comfortable with it, and I know the tune now. What I'm going to do is take advantage of a feature that's actually here on YouTube, and I'm going to go up to that little wheel. I'm going to bring up this option here, and I'm going to go down to playback speed, and I'm going to go 1.25. Sound a little weird, but that's all right. Right there, I lost it. I gotta find that quarter note. 2, 3, 4. Where's our hat? And remember, the keyboard is that. That's our 8th note. That's gonna be our 16th. So I might practice something like this. Maybe take each note and do 4. Those are definitely things that you could do. And when you do things like that, you'll discover interesting things. All right, let's put one here in. Let's see. A minor. This will put us in a really funky key. B flat. I'll come back to something like that. So when we speed it up, so that's definitely. I really don't want to get into much more than that. So hopefully that gives you some idea of how to play fast and what it's just working on it. And the thing is sometimes you have to dive in head first and play stuff that's faster. That's the weird thing, to do the metronome work, how the metronome works. Sometimes if you have to try to play something faster than it already is, you can get it easier. And that's, I think, for a different stream. But anyways, thank you for being here, Zarian. Aria, I like that. Aria, but that's, I don't know, like opera aria or aria from Game of Thrones. Either way, super cool. And Orion, it's my favorite constellation, so just cool name. Tonight, Ann and I will be doing some text twist, having a lot of fun at 7 o'clock. We're still relegated to my phone for that, but who cares? We're having fun, and this is like her birthday week, so we'll make sure if you're on there tonight, you jump on and start to wish her a happy birthday. We're gonna have a big celebration on Thursday, hopefully, and then I think if I could just find one more tune to play, maybe I'll just jam out with that last thing. That's a cool track. Don't forget to slow the music back down to where it's supposed to be. Thanks, man. We have a great day, dude. Beautiful every day. Have a beautiful day every day. How's that? I'll see you guys tonight at 7. Thank you so much. Let's see if we can find somebody to raid here.